It has been a long time coming, but the Volkswagen Golf GTI, one of the world's greatest hot hatchbacks, has finally arrived in India. But there is a big problem. It costs an eye-watering 53 lakh rupees ex-showroom.
Now that is silly money considering it's essentially a people's car. And on the other hand, I can think of a lot more options. You've got the Mini Cooper S, which is more affordable. You also have the Mini Cooper JCW. And if you want a more accomplished performance car that can also sit your family, you have the BMW M340i. Of course, it's a little more expensive, but at the same time, it has got a lot more performance. It has got a lot more power. It has more space. It has a boot as well. And ultimately, it's a BMW. So there is that badge value as well. So as it seems, the Volkswagen Golf GTI at that price, it has landed somewhere in a no man's land. And I think it is a big blunder. But there is a big but, because when you get behind the wheel of this car, that's when you realize what the GTI is all about. And good Lord, it redeems itself, and how. Now, first of all, the Golf GTI has all the ingredients of a hot hatchback. So it's powered by a 2-liter E8888 Volkswagen engine. It is direct injection, turbocharged. It produces 261 horsepower and 370 Newton meters of torque. Now, this one is paired to a 7-speed DSG automatic, which sends the power to the front wheels. Now, that is a lot of power going to the front wheels, of course, but then this is the GTI. This is the perfect hot hatch formula. And we are at Natrax today. Right now, I am at the handling track. And this is not a race track per se, but it has got some nice corners, really tight corners, some flowing corners as well. There are curves over here, but it's essentially a road setting. There are no runoffs here, so you can't misjudge anything. But in here also, I was doing crazy speeds. I was doing close to 160 kilometers per hour on these roads. You'll see the layout, it's not that fast and flowing, but still, with this car, everything feels at ease. Now for me, what really stood out was, of course, the handling, because it doesn't feel like your typical front-wheel drive hatchback. It just grips, and it doesn't understeer for some reason.
And that reason is the Golf GTI's clever VAQ, or electronically controlled limited slip differential, at the front axle. This system uses a multi-plate clutch and an electric hydraulic pump that distributes power between the front wheels depending on the grip levels. Put simply, it sends more power to the wheel with most grip, thereby reducing the wheel spin. At the same time, it also comes with torque vectoring, which sends more power to the outside wheels when accelerating out of corners, resulting in a tighter radius.
I don't know if I was near the limit or not. There were only few instances where I could feel that it was sort of understeering and I went out, but that was, I think, due to driver error, because my steering inputs were really absurd and I could have done better. But ultimately, this car is so composed, it's so forgiving, and it's so easy to drive it fast. Well, that's what I love about it, because it doesn't scare you, but at the same time, it is thrilling, it is exciting, and it rewards you. That's the perfect hot hatch formula, because you have got the performance, you have got the drive, but you also have the practicality of a hatchback, and I think that really works in its favor. And at the same time, the powertrain is absolutely phenomenal. There is nothing to complain about here. Of course, if you are an enthusiast, you would probably want a manual transmission, and I get that, because this is a GTI, and of course you want that connection with your performance, your hot hatchback. But Again, globally, Volkswagen has chucked the manual transmission. So it's not just India where we are not getting the manual transmission, it's around the world as well. And I think it's not really a deal breaker because this is ultimately a hot hatch that's supposed to be used daily. And I think in our driving conditions, a manual transmission, it's not going to work that well. If you're going to do track days, of course, you want that connection, a manual transmission would work just well. But I think the DSG just suits this car so well. Okay, so now I've just done some really fast laps with this thing, and yeah, this is really, really amazing. I think there is no other car in this price point that drives as well. And sure, I said in the beginning that you have got the Mini Cooper, which is a hot hatchback as well, but it's nowhere close to this thing because this, the way it handles, the way it grips, the transmission, the performance, well, this is in a different league. So yes, it may not have the badge, but when you drive this thing, the sound is just amazing. I think it is one of the most exciting cars that I've driven this year so far. So fortunately, I got a lot of driving time today, and on the handling track, I really pushed it to its absolute limit, or to my limit for sure. And I think it just did everything perfectly. It doesn't flinch at all. It's just rock solid. It's clinical. At the same time, the handling is precise. It is so grippy. The steering is just perfect. It's so well weighted, and it's dripping with feel. Now, if there's one thing that I can complain about, otherwise it's flawless. And it's also not a complaint, but after a couple of hot laps, I felt the rear was kind of moving in a lot. Of course, this is not the grippiest of surfaces. It has a lot of dirt, but the first few laps were perfect. But after a while, I thought from the rear, especially the grip from the tires was not as good as it was during the initial part of my run. So it comes short with Bridgestone Potenzas, I think, and the grip levels were fantastic in the beginning, but towards the end of the session, when I had done 4 or 5 laps, I felt the rear was moving in quite a lot. And again, my driving inputs were the same. I was going as fast as I was going in the initial laps. So yeah, that was the only thing that made me slow down a little. Otherwise, I was just busy having fun with this thing. The brakes are also phenomenal. It's got disc brakes on all 4 corners. Just perfect. Look at how it darts in. Perfect. So we are now driving on the high-speed track at Nitrax. Volkswagen claims that this has a top speed of 250 kilometers per hour. There is a banking coming shortly. So let's find out how fast it can go. Right now I'm doing 235 kilometers per hour, and it just pulls. There is no let up. It feels rock solid, stable. There's barely any wind noise. Coming up to the straight. .267, it's locked at 267. It's not going above that. 6th gear. That is it. It's the ease with which it does these speeds, you know. It feels like a sports car. Now coming to the design, I don't think it's a particularly sporty looking hatchback. Of course, it looks very German, it looks very Volkswagen, it is clinical, it has taut lines, and it looks quite good. But ultimately, it is a sleeper of sorts. It doesn't really shout about its intentions. It's not loud or brash in that sense. And as a daily driver, I think it fits the bill perfectly. And you know what? If you take those GTI badges off, well, it will look like a bigger Polo to the masses. So I think overall, it is the ultimate sleeper car, but it has got a sports car slaying performance. So for me, the design really works. But again, if you're someone who wants a very sporty car with its four doors, with its hatchback look, it doesn't look that sporty. But again, it's down to your personal taste. Now the interior, I'm only going to stick to the things that matter here in a performance car. So the ergonomics are perfect, the seats are supportive, they have good side support as well. The steering, well, perfect. It has got physical buttons now, so you can quickly go through the menus and change the settings. You have got these capacitive buttons here. They are a little fidgety to use, but ultimately you're not going to use them all the while. There is a big touchscreen. This is a 13-inch touchscreen. Works really well and it's quite intuitive. We have also seen this in the Tiguan R line, so it works really well. But coming to some crucial points, it misses out a lot of features. There are no electric adjustments for the seat. The steering is also manually adjustable. For a 50 lakh rupee hatchback, well, that is a bit of a miss. Other thing is, I don't really like this gear lever. It looks very odd. I mean, it should have a proper that golf style gear lever. I think they could have done that because there is a bit of history attached to that. So this looks a little out of place. Other thing is these controls, these touch controls for volume and AC controls, again, very difficult to use. I don't understand the point of this. So they could have gone back to physical buttons. Among other things that may or may not matter to you, well, there are these hard plastics all around. They're very Taigun-like. So in a car, again, this expensive, you expect the quality to be slightly better. It is a CBU after all. Now, as far as I can tell, everything is perfect because it is a GTI after all, so it's meant for performance. And in that regard, I think everything is perfectly laid out. Of course, there are some niggles in terms of screens, in terms of all of that. But when you're driving, when you're concentrating, I think everything falls in place perfectly. I love the steering wheel. I love how the paddle shifters are. The pedals are perfectly positioned and you get in a sporty mode as soon as you enter this car. The other thing is, of course, it is a four-door hatchback. So if you want to travel with your family, there is ample of space at the back. It's not the most spacious car, of course, but there is decent room for adults and 4 adults can sit in comfort. So that practicality factor is also there. One more thing I want to point out in terms of practicality is the ground clearance. Now the ground clearance on this thing is really low. It's 136 millimeters. So today we are just driving on the track. We didn't really go on bad roads, but 136 millimeters, I think that is a little too less. And I suspect on bad roads, I'm sure it'll rub its belly, especially when you're driving with 4 passengers. But those are the practical bits and pieces. And again, not a deal breaker as such. I think everything is perfect and there is a bit of everything for everyone in this car. The Golf GTI is not everyone's cup of tea because it is not flashy. If you want to show off your hot hatchback, well, this is not it because it is a Volkswagen ultimately. What this thing is for serious enthusiasts, serious drivers who care about performance above everything else. And at the same time, this GTI badge, well, it is a piece of history as well. There is a lot of heritage which is associated with this badge itself. And ultimately, you know, Volkswagen doesn't really care what you and I think about this car because they've already sold the entire first lot of 250 units of the Golf GTI in India.